Don't forget to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you know when videos drop. Thanks for watching.
Hey YouTube viewers, it's been quite a time since we posted our last video. In fact, we're going on a month and a half. And it's September 1st, and we can hardly believe it's September 1st, right, Mrs. Peacock?
That's for sure.
Yeah. The reason why we haven't posted any videos are because we had a wonderful visitor on this farm called a 112-mile-an-hour EF1 tornado that really destroyed everything around here. Now, it wasn't as bad as our 2014 tornado, which was quite a bit worse. And Mrs. Peacock, it wasn't even as bad as what happened to all our friends and neighbors in the town of Minden, Iowa. Some people lost their house entirely. We're sitting on our front porch and things are all right. Now the porch is gonna have to be reset above us. We're safe. Right behind me, you see my ladder. I've got a little bit more trim to do. The house is all painted on September 1st. I did it myself. And that's about all that we got going here, Mrs. Peacock. This is crazy. We've got a lot of Peacock videos ready to go, but all my days have been filled up painting the barn, and our days are waiting for our contractors and tree people. Mrs. Peacock, do you want to say anything about this wonderful experience that our wonderful June 25th, 2024 tornado did to us? And here we are, September 1st, and nothing's changed but me painting the house and waiting almost 3 months later.
Yeah, that's right. You always hear how, oh, the insurance adjusters are terrible and they take forever to come. In fact, there was just a news article in Omaha about their tornado, and they're having trouble with adjusters having to bring them from other states. But our adjuster was here within a week. Of course, the first one was here within a week. Well, first one was here within a week. He was really nice.
Oh yeah, he was wonderful, Mrs. Peacock. In fact, I thought this was like a blessing, and everything was wonderful, and he said he would take care of everything and not to worry. He left, and what happened, Mrs. Peacock? Oh my gosh, you ready for this? Everybody sit still. Watch this.
That's right. Then we got his report, and it was a terrible report. Then we talked to our agent, and she talked to the make-believe adjuster.
Oh, let me interrupt for a second. Well, he was a make-believe adjuster, in our opinion.
He was a third party.
He was a third party. You see, there were so many storms in Minden, Iowa. Now, we're 7 miles south of Minden on a farm surrounded by corn and soybeans. And if you watch our videos, you know that. Okay, and so they didn't have enough adjusters for our company to go out and take care of all the people who needed to be adjusted. So they hired these third-party people, and boy, this was Team D. They deserted a D, and I'm being polite. Go ahead, Mrs. Peacock.
And so on his report, he says the house and property are in very poor condition, which is his explanation for the low insurance rate.
Yeah, he had the audacity to say very poor condition, the house and the property. Now let's take the house for a sample. The house was in very poor condition because if you have 112-mile-an-hour winds for 19 and a half minutes, and if you watched our previous video, I'll put the link below so you can see it. Obviously, the house was sandblasted. Now it looks beautiful because I painted it. And the property, very poor condition. Well, we had a lot of trees down, maybe about 25 to 40 trees down and about 3 uprooted. That's pretty poor condition, but I really took umbrage over what he said and got furious. I called, like Mrs. Peacock said, I called our agent, and she's great. We got the best agent in the world, and I believe our insurance company is fantastic. In fact, we're going to recommend them at the end of the video, and if you're in the area, I highly suggest you get them because they'll take care of you, and if something's wrong, they make sure things are right, and they do it accordingly to the book, and they care about people. But moving on, I got a little bit wordy here. This whole situation was totally crazy. My agent said she'd check with the adjuster, and he was not moving one bit. He's dug his heels in, and he said things that were pretty much unprofessional. Then we are very fortunate. We wrote a detailed letter saying that he said that it's impossible for that barn to have been fixed back in 2014. Well, we're YouTubers. There's pictures of the barn being fixed. It's on YouTube. So we sent the video of that. We have photographs. He said the house was 2002 when it was fixed. It wasn't. We had photographs proving and date stamped it. You know, we have everything documented by photographs and videos, so it's not hard. And then he said the barn never was hurt by the wind and the storm. And I said, well, I take umbrage to that because we were featured, and if you watched our videos in the past, Iowa Public TV did a very special feature of us about a year ago. In October, it aired. It showed that the barn wasn't tattered and the paint wasn't off the side of the barn. And after the tornado, it was. And that was it. They sent this wonderful supervisor for the adjusters. He came down 6 hours. He checked it out and took good care of us. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. So, as far as the insurance, they were pretty good. We can't complain too much, except for the first guy about the insurance because, okay, we're ready now. We've been ready for months.
Yeah.
To get this stuff fixed. Nobody will come.
Yeah, and here's the problem. Our contractor, who was a little bit slow back in 2014, quite a bit slow, in fact, and part of it didn't get done until another 5 years later, but it got done. The back of the barn got fixed. The house was spared major damage. I had to paint it again. Seems like my life is painting this house. I know every board on this house from top to bottom. But anyhow, he said he was going to come and check us out. Well, how long was it between the time I contacted him and he actually showed up, Mrs. Peacock?
I think it was at least 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he just showed up one day. We're like, oh, surprise.
And he brought his special guy who does roofs, and he said, oh yeah, I was the guy who did the roof when we repaired it last time. I said, oh, we like you, you're great. And so we never did get an answer. You see, we can't go forward unless you have an estimate of what things are going to cost. We have to see if we can afford it. And the insurance company needs to approve it. And they're really good about it. They're patient. Not as patient as we are. We are impatient right now, right, Mrs. Peacock?
Well, we want it fixed. We're ready to go. We need a contractor, but they won't come.
Yeah.
The person you contacted him first on July 8th. And then, of course, he showed up in about 3 weeks. But we haven't heard from them since. And you've emailed them.
Oh, yeah. We emailed these people. I finally gave up on our contractor from 2014 because he came. He keeps promising. He says, we're going to give you an estimate, and the estimate doesn't come. We're getting close to winter here. We're September 1st, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The roof of this house has to be totally torn down and put plywood and brand new shingles, and there's all kinds of codes that are different in 2024 than they were in 2014 when we did it. And then we have another problem with the barn. Don't let me forget, Mrs. Peacock, we have to talk about the barn problem and where that goes. So I got so upset. I went to check on the progress of Minden, Iowa to see how they were coming along, and I guess my mechanic's going to build a new building, but that's not soon enough for me because I got a car that needs to be restored after our tornado again and our previous tornado. And so I ran around town and I got my notepad out and I wrote every contractor down and I called all kinds of people. We called a major city one in Omaha, Nebraska, which is about 35-40 miles away, and we called some local guys. We also found back in Minden a tree service that was really great. We contacted them. It took them forever to get here. And every time from April 26th to our storm in June 25th, 2024, there was lots of storms, lots of tornadoes. And Omaha got hurt so bad. It was horrible. And all the contractors, all the roofers, everybody ended up going to Omaha, and they left us in the dust. We're sitting here waiting. You can have all the money in the world, but you can't get contractors to come out and do what they say. So I got all these names down. I started calling people. We got 3 people last week to come. We're going to give you an estimate. What else, Mrs. Peacock?
Well, the one guy said, oh, I might have an estimate tomorrow. It's been a week.
Yeah, and I know, Labor Day, tomorrow's Labor, and you know what I'm going to be doing on Labor Day? I'm going to be laboring on the farm here. I got paint to do. I've got to do some caulking. I got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be busy till the snow flies here. But at least I'm getting something done. But the other things I can't do because it's beyond my pay grade. I'm a peacock farmer. I paint, and I love painting, but I can't fix roofs. I can't move trees. I'm not Superman. I wish I was.
Yeah.
So where are we going from here, Mrs. Peacock?
I have no idea. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for the tree person. We finally emailed him again, and he said, oh, he might get here within 3 weeks. But everybody's in Omaha. We were on the list first. I think we should be before Omaha. That's just my humble opinion.
Yep.
But we drove around the neighborhood one day, and we found, after our storm, we said, is anybody else damaged? We found a house that had shingles off. Well, we went back, I don't know, a few weeks later, before the Omaha storm, and his roof was fixed. So we called that person. They're like, we're too busy in Omaha. We've got apartment buildings to do. Everybody went to Omaha. So forget us.
Yeah, so we're sitting here, beautiful, nice, cool day on the 1st of September. Tomorrow's Labor Day, and we're sitting here enjoying this nice, cool weather. And as soon as I get done filming this, I got to go back to work. I got to get my work clothes on and work very hard. And the nice part about this is I can get the house done. I can fix this house. I can paint the barn. I'm doing all that. But I can't get the roof fixed. And speaking about roofs, the barn does not get the same treatment as the house does. Now, if you have a problem with insurance, it's not the insurance company. I think it has to be with the whole industry. The insurance company has rules they have to follow by. The state says they have to do this. There are building codes that whoever makes those up. Now, you probably know that. We don't, and I don't really care. All I know is that the house has to be done to certain specifications, but the barn doesn't. So they gave us shingles. Talk about that, Mrs. Peacock.
Which shingles for the barn?
And how we have to do that. The roof of the barn has to be totally replaced and torn down and completely redone. Not the talk, forget the money part, but Mrs. Peacock, tell the story behind this.
Behind this? Well, okay, they're gonna pay for shingles for the barn, but the contractors who came out, that we haven't heard from since, said they can't put shingles on top of shingles on the barn because of the rules, the code. And so it makes no sense. So we went back to the insurance company and I said, what do I do with 36 squares of shingles? Do I make a picnic table out of them?
I thought that was pretty good. I'm not sure he appreciated it, but...
Probably not. But it's ridiculous. You're going to pay for shingles and the contractors can't put them up. What do we do with them? I'm confused.
So the rules state that they have to pay for the shingles, which they did, and they were real good about that. But he can't pay for the tearing off of the 2 layers of old-fashioned shingles. Some of those shingles were put up there nearly 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And we put shingles on top of them, and they lasted really well. But this last year was horrible. Storms upon storms upon storms. Nobody was left unscathed in our neighborhood, that's for sure. So now we're left to having to pay to have everything torn off and brand new plywood on the barn. The barn is 60 foot long by 58 feet wide and goes up to 40 feet. And I think it's like a 15 foot down on the very peak and 20 feet down on the other side. And that amounts to a lot of plywood and a very expensive proposition. We don't even know if we're going to be able to afford to do it. It leaks like a sieve. It's never leaked that bad in there since we've been here for 37 years. Peacocks are getting a little bath every once in a while. So now we sit and wait. I had a whole list of notes here. I'm not going to use it. I guess we talked it pretty good off of our heads because this is the way it is. So here's a couple tips. Now, make sure you check your insurance policy. This is very important.
Yes.
If you own a house, whether it's on the farm or city, it doesn't matter. Check your policy. What was the deal, Mrs. Peacock? We had to pay our deductible. Everybody does. That's like with cars and houses. But then they depreciated everything. Can you explain to people what that means, Mrs. Peacock?
Well, the depreciation depends on how old it is. But there's also policies where they give you replacement value or actual cash value. And ours is the actual cash value, which when they told us the policy, yes, we want it fixed. We want the actual cash value that's going to cost to fix it. That's not the thing to say because they take off money. They don't pay you because it's not the right type of policy. Whereas if you get a replacement value policy, they would just replace it. Just no questions asked. But you're paying for extra coverage.
Yeah, it'll cost you quite a bit more.
We were shocked to find out that it's actual cost because we were positive that we got the right coverage because they said, oh yeah, it's the actual cost of what it's going to be. To me, actual cost is, oh, the actual cost was going to fix. To them, So check your policy.
Yeah, you got to check your policy. And when we get done with this, we've been photographing and videoing all parts of what we're doing. When the guys come, if they ever come, we're going to videotape it. There'll be a video following this one eventually. Who knows when? And you got to make sure you keep all your paper records. If you don't have them, you are paddling up a creek without a paddle. You just got to have all the records. Fortunately for us, we had all our records, and that's what saved us with our insurance company.
Yep.
They were fantastic. Once we showed them the records, you got to have proof. People try to get away with things. We don't care. We want to just get back to the way we were before the storm, and that's what our company says. We want to put you back to the way you were, and they're a wonderful company. And if you're interested in who they are, go to the link below. We'll give you the link to the name, and if you can get them, I highly recommend them because there's a lot of companies out there are going to just take your policy, money, and then when you need them, they're not anywhere to be found. And that's what's happening in Omaha, Nebraska today. On September 1st, 2024, there are many people who are having problems. Now, the other problem is we're learning that a lot of our friends in Minden's whose houses are completely destroyed, they were underinsured, similar probably to us, and some of them didn't even have anything other than liability. They're stuck. It's going to cost them $100,000 in addition to whatever they have to pay for their mortgages just to get back into place. A lot of these people are going to have to walk away from their homes and never get it back. That's what you don't hear on the news. The news is so good. They come out there, oh yeah, oh, Minden is destroyed. Oh, your property is destroyed. And then 3 months later, these poor people in Minden have nothing. They have nowhere to go. And they're stuck with a mortgage. And everybody's, some people are rebuilding. The ones who are lucky enough are rebuilding, but there's a lot of people who will never be rebuilding. And now there's empty properties in town and places to build your new house. Well,
this is true. If you want some property or a lot, come to Minden.
Yep, there's plenty of lots available for sale. You can build your house there, but make sure you got a good insurance policy to cover yourself and don't be underinsured. That's what we keep hearing all the time. We thought after our first tornado, we were going to be in great shape. Well, we didn't understand. So check your policy. Well, Mrs. Peacock, I think we're about done. Are we missing anything? I'm looking at my notes here.
I think we're missing a contractor.
Oh, you are? We're missing a contractor for what? The house?
The house.
The barn?
The trees.
We got nobody.
A contractor, please come.
So if you're a local contractor, you want to help us out, come on down.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, hopefully before the snow flies.
Yes.
We would like to get things put in order before the snow flies. Well, I guess that's it, Mrs. Peacock.
I guess so. So I'll see you later.
Thanks for viewing.
Hey viewers, don't forget to make a donation. The link's below.
Order the Wacky World of Peafowl books at peafowl.com.